Through in furnace technology, the Bryant Formula high-efficiency furnace. More than an ordinary furnace that produces heat, it also produces money. Just buy one now and Bryant will pay you back for your highest monthly gas bill this winter. And even after you get your check, the formula's efficiency will keep paying off every month. For a participating dealer near you, call toll-free 1-800-HOT-SALE.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. From the new WCCO Television Communications Center in the Twin Cities, this is the 6 p.m. report. With Dave Moore, Pat Miles, Mike Fairborn, and Ralph John Fritz.
Good evening, everyone. Among the top regional stories on tonight's 6 p.m. report will be Karen Boris's report on Governor Perpich's first day back from his trade tour of Europe. We'll hear his ideas. Debbie Ely will update the so-called payment-in-kind program designed to reduce farm surpluses without costing the government hard cash. And Mike Walsher will update the State Racing Commission's search for a suitable site for a horse track. But at the top of the 6 p.m. report tonight, 600 striking employees of the American Hoist and Derrick Company in St. Paul have voted to end their walkout. Lisa Schoffer's in our St. Paul newsroom with more on the story. Lisa?
The largest union, the machinists, voted first. 3/5 of them decided to go with the company's latest contract offer, even though it's not a whole lot different from what they struck over 3.5 months ago. The foundry workers followed suit a short time later.
Well, we were offered last May. The insurance policy has been revised so that we can live with that. They gave us back our 5th week's vacation after 20 years. They gave us back our paid holidays on the Christmas vacation time. And these were basic issues because when we went out, it was primarily over our benefits. It wasn't over our pay scale.
The new insurance plan requires workers to pay 20% of their medical expenses, although no family would have to pay more than $1,500 for 1 year. Still, many workers say that's too much.
If a man has got a large family, he could pay out a substantial amount of money out of his own pocket in any time that he had a hospitalization.
The workers may now switch to HMO plans the company offers, plans they've avoided in the past. The strike has cost the men thousands of dollars in lost pay. Some lost much more. So most voted to end the strike, even though it doesn't mean back to work for all of them. For more than 400 machinists,
about 171 of them that are going to return between now and Monday on their prospective shifts. The rest will be on layoff.
We find ourselves up against a situation, take it or leave it. I think the company know that, and I think we're in a situation where a lot of more companies are going to be using that.
a company spokesman says the workers are scheduled to work tomorrow morning and that recalls will continue even though there's no way of knowing how many or how soon. But the company does expect the crane business to pick up in the coming year. It's the one division at Amhoist that is not yet running in the black since Amhoist started losing money last year. Dave.
Thank you, Lisa. Governor Rudy Perpich has been trying to help the fate of Minnesota workers by opening new markets in Europe. Pat?
Dave, the governor just returned yesterday from a 3-week trade tour of Europe, and today we learned more about what happened at his various stops throughout Europe. Karen Boris is here with a report now on the governor's news conference this morning. What do you have to say, Karen?
Well, Pat, Governor Perpich said his trip was a success, noting that a Swedish steel company will visit Minnesota next week with interest in locating a plant here. Perpich sees this as just the beginning after 3 weeks on the road selling Minnesota.
Minnesota looks better than ever.
Governor Perpich told reporters the Minnesota Trade Office opens 2 weeks from now in Stockholm. But Perpich said what the state really needs is a World Trade Center here to help companies worldwide interested in doing business in Minnesota, which would make world trade part of the state institution.
This area here, the metropolitan area, with the World Trade Center and everything, is going to be Paris, Rome, and Vienna all rolled up in one. We're really and literally will be the Paris of the United States.
During his absence, independent Republicans criticized Perpich, saying he should stay home and improve the business climate. Today, Perpich answered them, saying he is doing what the private sector does to drum up trade, and he intends to continue.
We're really trying to become competitive, and I believe we're moving in the right direction. Elections 4 years from now. I mean, why not do something positive? And then they're going to have a lot of issues that they can conduct a campaign on.
Perpich has delayed his planned trip to China to spend more time following through on contacts he made in Europe. He also said that visits from Soviets interested in trade here are on hold until U.S.-Soviet relations improve.
Certainly an interesting idea. Thank you, Karen. The Minnesota Supreme Court has upheld what amounts to a 2% pay cut for state employees. This cut resulted when the state began making the employees pay more of their pension costs, thereby cutting take-home pay. Employees appealed the policy to the High Court, but failed in their attempt to restore those lost wages. Ed White, the former state treasurer for the Independent Republican Party, has now begun treatment for alcoholism at the Hazelden Foundation. White recently was forced to resign for taking about $26,000 in party funds for his personal use. White has agreed to pay the money back.
An update on the Farmers Payment in Kind program and Mike Fairborn's weather forecaster among those items coming up on the 6 p.m. report.
I came to Dueling for glasses during their fabulous frame sale. I got these frames for half price. I love them. Then Dueling said I could have a second pair of frames free, so I picked these. Now I have a choice of glasses. Whenever I want to change my look, I can just switch. I'm a new me. Thanks, Dueling.
Get 50% off your first frames and get your second frames free when each is purchased with lenses during Dueling Optical's fabulous frame sale. Hurry, offer ends soon.
I want to know better. You got the look that's all together, working, playing, day or night. The look that's right. You got the look. Jordan. You got the look. Jordan. You got the look.
Western Airlines has taken a very good schedule and torn it apart to make it our very best schedule for business. We're building it around arrivals, not just departures, because when you get there is just as important as when you leave. Call your travel agent or Western. Our new business schedule will make a difference wherever you fly. Western Airlines, we've got a name to live up to.
On the move.
In 1949, WCCO television moved into the old Radio City Theater and began broadcasting. Now we're on the move again. It's here. The new WCCO Communication Center is now open. Tune in and you'll agree it's the best move we've ever made. WCCO television is on the move.
The Minnesota Sentencing Guidelines Commission is meeting at this hour to consider reducing the length of prison sentences for less serious offenses. Minnesota's prisons could be full by 1985, and the commission is trying to head off the expected overcrowding of the prison system. Stillwater prison authorities are moving about 20 inmates into segregation tonight in connection with a riot there last Sunday. Internal disciplinary charges against the inmates will not be filed, however, until next week. The prison remains under lockup, but prison officials say parts of the facility may be open tomorrow. Pat?
Dave, 2 men wearing ski masks held up the Marquette State Bank of Fridley this morning, getting away with an unknown amount of cash. Police say it happened about 11 o'clock. The 2 gunmen apparently walked into the bank wearing the mask and green coveralls. They fled in a blue Oldsmobile, which was last seen going north on University Avenue. A police chase ended in a muddy field in suburban Plymouth this afternoon, with 2 suspects taken into custody on drug charges. Police first gave chase in Brooklyn Park. The suspect vehicle was a 4-wheel drive, and the suspects turned off in a field near County Roads 10 and 18. 3 squad cars ended up getting stuck in the mud, but the suspects didn't get away. Their vehicle also got stuck, and police eventually took them into custody. Last winter, the federal government revived the term payment in kind by offering farmers a new compensation in return for not growing certain crops. Today, several U.S. agricultural officials were in the Twin Cities to evaluate the first year of the PIC program. Debbie Ely reports.
PIC was popular last spring in Minnesota. Farmers signed promises to take more than 40% of their eligible corn cropland out of production in return for a payment of surplus corn. Federal officials in the Twin Cities today said PIC worked in 1983, but don't count on it again in 1984. An assistant to USDA Secretary John Block told the National Corn Growers Board that some program to curb production will probably be announced by October 1st. Meanwhile, another USDA official described for reporters what that plan would likely involve.
The program that we're looking at right now is leaning towards is an ARP program, acreage reduction program, which is a voluntary set-aside that qualifies that person for loans and deficiency payments.
Deficiency payments are made when corn prices don't hit a certain level. Minnesota Farmers Union President Cy Carpenter has his doubts about that type of program.
But when you talk about voluntary, I want to know how much he has to reduce voluntarily, because that means simply taking that much out of production at his cost. And then tied to that, I want to know what the level of that loan is going to be.
Carpenter fears that a program which is not attractive to farmers will result in low participation and surplus production. But while Carpenter and Rank are at odds over an acreage reduction plan, both agree that dairy surplus should be the administration's top priority. Rank says a new proposal to deal with that should be forthcoming soon. Debbie Ely, WCCO Television News, the Twin Cities.
Well, all the rain that we've had began last night. We've almost had 24 hours of rain. I wonder, Mike, is that going to speed up fall or no? What will all that rain do?
I don't think it's really going to make much difference on fall. I think the worrisome thing about it right now is going to make the fields awfully wet for the farmers. It also increases moisture in the corn that they like to have dry in the field. So that may cause some problems. We could still get some nice dry weather yet. Indian summer, huh? Keep your fingers crossed.
I'm waiting.
We've had plenty of rainfall, though. Look at that amount, 1.40 here in the Twin Cities in the past 24 hours. Really not even 24 hours. It really started raining about 9 o'clock last night, off and on a little bit. We only reached 55 degrees for our high, and our low last night was 49, so not a great deal of spread in the temperature, and that, of course, due to the fact we did have cloud cover all night long and some nice winds keeping the atmosphere stirred up for us. The satellite picture shows a huge band of clouds all over the upper Midwest. The heaviest clouds, of course, right over eastern Minnesota, moving into Wisconsin right now. We're also watching a little curl developing on the back side of this low pressure center that's right in southwestern Minnesota right now. And that's going to keep the clouds in over us tonight through most of the day tomorrow. Maybe a few breaks late in the afternoon, but it's going to be a pretty dreary day one more time. If we take a look at the national radar, you can see the extent of the precipitation, not just over us, but extending all the way down through parts of Illinois and Iowa and Nebraska and Missouri, all the way down into Arkansas, really another little area developing out around South Dakota. That's that little curl we were talking about that'll continue to move our way as well and keep us in the rainfall for another 12 hours at least. Satellite picture shows that even in more detail. You can see nice comma-shaped cloud associated with it. Behind that, we don't see anything else developing. We could, if things move along fairly rapidly, get a little bit of a break on the weekend, but it looks like maybe the first part of next week we'll be back into a little bit of shower and maybe even some thunderstorm activity. The highs tomorrow map indicates that we will see temperatures just barely climbing back up to the upper 50s to near 60 degrees. Still plenty of heat down to the southwest of us, but we're not going to see any of that, that's for sure. The forecast map for tomorrow indicates that low pressure center moving on to the east, but still a big area of clouds associated with it, precipitation moving east. Another little front moving in from the west could cause us some problems for the weekend, so we're still not really optimistic about it. Our current conditions, 55 degrees, humidity is 77%, southeast winds at 14, and 29.79 falling on the barometer. Our forecast calls for rain changing to drizzle tonight, if you can distinguish between that. The drizzle is the real fine stuff that makes your windshield wipers not work right. You have to let it accumulate for a while. Southeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, switching around to the northwest to north at 10 to 20 a little later on tonight. Through tomorrow, still mostly cloudy with some morning sprinkles and only 59 degrees for a high temperature tomorrow. Our extended outlook calls for a chance of some rain on Sunday and Monday. Saturday right now looks like maybe the best day out of the weekend. Tuesday, a chance of snow. Who will put that on there? I think no. It'll be partly cloudy. Would you believe that?
That was a nasty joke on your part.
I think it was.
Put that snow up there. We know you did it, too. Thanks, Mike. Coming up, more news, including a report from Mike Walsher on the latest meeting of the State Racing Commission.
Every year at this time, Glidden gets ready for a factory sale. We stock up on the paint so we can cut down on the price. And this year, you can pick up famous spread satin wall paint for the same low price as last year, just $9.99 a gallon. That's right. Quality spread satin is on sale again for only $9.99. But you'd better hurry. With quality paint like this on sale, the price won't last forever. Glidden, when we put our promise on the label, we keep it in the can.
No matter where you look, you won't find another copier like Minolta's new Beta 450Z. Its unique zooming lens lets you automatically reduce or enlarge different size originals to uniform copies. Or the 450Z automatically selects the correct paper to make different size copies. And that's just the beginning. The new Beta 450Z. There's no other copier on Earth like it.
CDP means Office Systems.
You know, I happened to tell my Allstate agent about how everything I have two of.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Dad.
Like 2 cars, he asked? Maybe Allstate's 2-car discount can save you money on insurance. Allstate sure saves me. I can use the money.
Noah! Dinner!
One wife.
Bring in your policy. For most folks, Allstate's multi-car discount is now even better. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Take your average, everyday office.
Morning.
Add just 1 cup and
Ooh, where'd he get that suit?
Kuppenheimer, where it doesn't cost a lot to fill your cup, because we make them in our own factory. Take a rather dull party. Add just 1 cup.
Happy birthday.
And
Ooh, where'd you get that suit?
Kuppenheimer, where you get that suit, sport coat and slacks, for less.
Minnesota's long-running fishing war with Ontario moved to the negotiation table today. Representatives from both sides of the northern border met all day behind closed doors at the state capitol. At issue is Ontario's new policy of issuing no annual fishing licenses to non-residents, plus requiring those who do fish in Ontario to spend the night in Ontario. Minnesota resort owners have complained the loudest. Lieutenant Governor Marlene Johnson heads the Minnesota delegation working for a compromise. Pat?
The Minnesota Racing Commission met today to be introduced to the 8 groups that want to build a racetrack in the metropolitan area. The commission took no action, but did listen to sales pitches by the various developers. Mike Walsher reports.
The most complete presentation came from a group that wants to build a track on the east side of Shakopee. 25% ownership of the track would go to Bob Strube, the operator of Santa Anita Racetrack in California. Strube and his partners emphasized the expertise and experience the California investor would bring to the track here. Wayne Field of Rembrandt Enterprises made a pitch for a track in Lakeville. He said he is negotiating to join up with racetrack operators from other states. Chuck Weaver, representing North Star Racetrack Association, advocated a track in Blaine. Weaver also made a strong appeal for a private, non-profit racetrack. 5 other groups also were in the running. Several commissioners voiced concern and confusion over just how much influence the Metropolitan Council would have in making the final selection. But Chairman Ray Elliott firmly emphasized the final site would be picked by his commission and would not necessarily follow the actions of the Metropolitan Council. The final selection won't be made until the end of the year at the earliest. Mike Walsher, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
And Ralph John Fritz is going to be along in just a moment to tell us about the America's Cup race. I understand they had a big crowd. The problem, though, is you have to have a boat if you want to watch.
You do. Liberty won again. The Americans are up 2-0. The Australians get caught in a wind shift. A couple of them, as a matter of fact.
That could be a problem.
Which we'll tell you about. It's always a problem when you're sailing.
Okay, coming up next.
You must have been a beautiful baby. You must have been a beautiful child.
A lot of babies that Group Health Incorporated helped bring into the world are having babies of their own these days. You see, Group Health Inc. started the whole HMO idea of comprehensive prepaid health coverage in this area over a generation ago. And because we care that much about health care, today we're the leading HMO in the Twin Cities and one of the 10 biggest nationwide, with full-service facilities and hospitals throughout the Twin Cities. You can choose your own doctor at Group Health Inc., and we have over 1,000 healthcare professionals to serve you. So if you want great prepaid health care, talk to the people who cared enough to start it all. Group Health Inc. We feel great when you do.
For the first time in his life, he's struggling.
having a hard time in math. He needs help. He can get that help with the home computer from Texas Instruments. It has more educational cartridges than any other computer. They challenge, encourage, make learning fun. The home computer from Texas Instruments. It can give your child a head start in school that could last a lifetime.
The fear of cancer, cancer phobia.
The young lady had a fear of breast cancer. She had her breast removed. My God, what's her mind going to do if she gets cancer in another area of her body now?
But it's my body.
Constant chronic stress depresses the body's immune system. To operate and remove her phobia, so to speak, may not necessarily solve the problem.
Should you before it happens? What do you think? We hope you'll join us.
Another victory today for the U.S. in the America's Cup race, but Australia has asked for a day off tomorrow. I'm not familiar with the rules of that. Is that allowed, and why have they asked that?
Usually, Dave, it's a day-to-day thing, but you do have that option. You can ask for a day off if things are going badly for your team, and that's exactly what's happening to the Australians. They were the favorites, and they are now trailing the American team 2-0. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you call it a rhubarb in baseball. I'm not sure what it would be here, but the Australians are protesting, saying that the Americans crossed their path on the 6th leg today. We'll have more on that. But Liberty is trying to keep the America's Cup in the States, where it's been since the prestigious race took off 132 years ago. And the Australia 2 today, with its newfangled keel, got off to a fantastic start. They led by 35 seconds. However, the challengers from down under got into a lot of trouble with a mast and Liberty. The Liberty took advantage here. Skipper John Bertrand had to send a daring sailor who was worth his salt, as you'll agree, up the mast to correct the problem. That's 80 feet up there, folks. Australia 2 got off course, and Liberty picked up an offshore breeze, and on the second upwind leg, they took the lead. Some people say watching sailboat racing, kind of like watching paint dry, but not when someone's dangling from the wires you can see there. These sailors know what they are doing, at least, and that Aussie's efforts were not enough, as Liberty cruised to a 1-minute and 33-second win to take a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 Cup event. Australia 2, as we said, protested the race. However, they claimed that Dennis Conner illegally crossed their path. The Twins will pit Ken Schramm against Toronto tonight at the Dome. Schramm is 2-0 against his former mates, and Blue Jays ace Dave Stieb so far this year. Last night, the Twins played one of their better games of the year, a 1-0 win over Chicago, and it came down to the bottom of the ninth, and rookie Tim Tuffle, the second baseman, came through with his first RBI of the year. Mickey Hatcher scored from third. The win ended Chicago's 8-game win streak, but of course they can afford to lose once in a while. Al Williams pitched a 6-hitter, but Ron Davis got the win. He is 5-7. One of the least secure jobs in professional sports is that of Major League Baseball managers. Well, Twins manager Billy Gardner survived nearly 3 years of losing, and last night during the 7th inning of the Chicago game, the Twins announced Gardner will be around for another year. The Twins' original second baseman on the 1961 team is the team's 9th manager. The American League West isn't even close, or even the East for that matter, but the National League is wild and woolly, especially in the Eastern Division. However, the West now, take a look, not too boring either, although Atlanta missed a chance to get within 3 games of L.A. This grand slam by Nick Saski of the Reds led Cincinnati to a 6-4 win over the Braves. They stay 4 back of the Dodgers. And the Eastern leaders, Philadelphia, swept Montreal. In the second game, Len Matusik, a 3-run shot and a 9-5 win. The Phillies lead there by 1.5. This has been a year of changes and additions for the Minnesota North Stars. There are a number of new faces in camp this year, as well as a new head coach. In fact, the Stars have 2 new head coaches this year. Bill Mahoney will guide the parent team, while J.P. Parisi will handle the Stars from Salt Lake City, from their farm club. Parisi is no stranger to the coach's box. After 11 successful years as a player, Parisi took over as the Stars' assistant coach in 1980. And now this season he becomes the head man in Salt Lake. Tonight at 10, we'll hear more from JP about the new challenge he faces this year as the coach. The Golden Bay Earthquakes weren't shook up by the 48 fouls and 2 bench-clearing brawls as they defeated Chicago 5-2 in the North American Soccer League playoffs. Golden Bay won their best-of-3 series 2-1 in front of their home fans in San Jose. The Quakes will meet either Toronto or Tulsa in the semifinals. Back to you, Pat.
Okay, thank you very much, Ralph. And we're going to be back in just a moment with a couple of final items coming up next on the 6 p.m. report.
I'm Rose Totino. My husband and I first made our pizza over 30 years ago in our restaurant. Two things we believed in: be the best and be generous. And that's how I've made my new deluxe pizza.
Introducing My Classic Pizza by Rose Totino. Tender crust, rich tomato sauce, lots of terrific toppings. A pizza with perfect balance. Try My Classic Pizza by Rose Totino.
Enjoy.
Jenny Stepness has been a nurse in the oncology department of Abbott Northwestern Hospital for over 10 years now. Oncology, that's cancer. It's not unusual that Jenny has worked in cancer care so long. The turnover of the nursing staff is the lowest in the hospital because some say the need is the greatest. We have the latest technology. We're winning many of the battles, and we have people like Jenny Stepness, one of the loving arms of Abbott Northwestern Hospital.
Value Plus at Dayton's. Classic leather handbag, just $49.99. Sophisticated satchels, shoulder and compartment bags at Dayton's. Value Plus. Value Plus at Dayton's. Women's career suits, just $89.99. Comfortable wool blends, elegant and down to business at Dayton's. Value Plus. Value Plus at Dayton's. Women's bandolino pumps, just $49.99. Refined business silhouettes in subtle fall colors at Dayton's. Value Plus.
Push, pull, or drag your beater in, regardless of condition. Get $1,500 minimum trade toward your used car purchase at Penn Auto Plaza, Bloomington. But hurry, the sale ends soon.
Medicaid residents of the Lake Ridge Nursing Home at Roseville will have to find new homes by next month unless their relatives win a temporary injunction they are seeking against the home. The relatives are suing the home for forcing the Medicaid residents to leave, saying that the home is discriminating and violating their human rights. They claim one resident died and others have suffered emotionally since learning that they would have to move. A hearing on that injunction request began today and will continue next week. Barb Brown will have a full report for us tonight on the 10 p.m. report. And also coming up on tonight's 10 p.m. report, the U.S. Senate debate on the Soviet downing of the Korean jetliner, while the search for parts of that plane continues. All of that coming up tonight at 10.
Until then, thank you and good night.
There's more for your dollar right now at Sears' 97th anniversary sale. Like interior latex paint, now half price. And try this on for size. Classic corduroy women's blazers, just $24.99. And walk off with some special purchases. Men's genuine leather dress shoes, just $29.99. And these automatic blankets, a comfortable $19.99. And there's more. Hundreds of values you won't want to miss, 'cause
there's more for your life.
On sale this week.
At Sears.
Looking for a fresh taste in ham? Try the 93% fat-free Wilson honey ham, cured with honey from Hawaii. Light, delicate, tropical blossom honey. So besides being 93% fat-free and incredibly lean and juicy, the delicious taste of Hawaiian honey just might make this the best ham you've ever tasted. The Wilson Honey Ham. Try it.
On the next edition of Our Magazine.
If you're bisexual, you end up in two closets.
Gary Collins examines an unusual lifestyle as bisexuality comes out of the closet.
So it basically means some ability to relate to members of both sexes.
I never know from one relationship to the next who I'm going to be in a relationship with, whether it's a male or female.
Our Magazine, the best hour of your day.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.